Welcome to Real Rockford Files, for tales of the paranormal, supernatural, and the flat-out unbelievable. Strange Dreams Part 2. Let's get into it. Out of the series of dreams I'm going to describe to you, the first is the only one that doesn't seem to have much in common with the others, but I still think is somehow connected. The first dream starts out, and I'm in a free fall from the sky. If anyone has seen the movie Predators, the way the movie starts and the way they wake up falling with parachutes on, it was much like that, except in my dream, I knew I had a parachute and was ready to pull the cord. I opened my parachute and there was a jungle or a forest below me. I navigated through the treetops and not so gently land on the forest floor. Removed a few straps and my parachute came off. I remember I landed near a pond or a large puddle and looked into it. I could see my reflection perfectly and thought it was weird how I looked older and all of my facial hair was gray or white. How old was I? No time to dwell on it. I had somewhere to be. I looked up and another person landed with me. That's when I noticed it was my oldest brother by 2 years, and he was just as gray as I looked. And we were both dressed in soldier's camo and were armed to the teeth with a rifle, plenty of ammo, grenades, a sidearm, and more. We started moving through the jungle or forest quickly but carefully towards a clearing where we were to meet up with others where our bunkers are dropped from the sky. That'll be explained more in a moment. We emerged from the trees and brush to a large opening to grassland about as large as, if not bigger than, a large football stadium. The bunkers had been dropped from the sky in a long line to our left. The bunkers themselves were made of all metal, I don't know what kind, were as big around as 2 tanks side by side, and had 2 levels, one on the ground and one upstairs. The walls were at least a foot thick and had small rectangular slots around it for us to shoot from. My brother ran inside the ground floor, and I ran up the stairs to the second floor and turned right and poked my rifle through the first slot to the right, with another soldier already at the slot to my left. We were in the middle of a full-fledged war. From the moment we reached the clearing, all I could hear was explosions, gunshots, and another sound I couldn't place, a whirring, buzzing sound. I looked down my scope, and we're facing the forest line opposite where I came out, and I was almost instantly terrified. Out of the tree line, being fired by an enemy I can't see, were laser beams. Large, round as a baseball bat laser beams. They made a shock wave through the air as they shot past, and they were pummeling the bunkers to my left. The sounds of explosions and screams melded together into a hellish symphony. Embarrassingly, I started to panic, painting my gun back and forth, repeating over and over, I can't even see them. I can't see them. That's when I saw one coming in my direction. One laser beam, just a little to the left of me. I stood quickly to face the guy to the left of me and yelled, "Get down!" That's when he exploded into a red mist that sprayed all over me, and there was a 5-foot high, 3-foot wide hole in the bunker where he once stood. Whatever they were firing cut through foot-thick steel like butter. I was wide-eyed, drenched in blood, thinking we're all gonna die. Then I saw coming down from the sky our evacuation vehicles, rectangular in shape, large enough to carry at least a dozen soldiers, started landing in front of the bunkers, placing themselves between us and the unseen enemy. For whatever reason, the lasers had no effect on them. They opened a doorway, and on our side, every still living soldier ran inside, including my brother and myself. That's when I saw who piloted those evacuation vehicles. They couldn't have been more than 4 feet tall, classic gray alien face and skin, and were wearing blue suits similar to NASA astronauts. There were 2 of these little beings. We loaded up and the doors closed behind us. Once inside, there were large windows on all sides and above us. I looked up as the ship lifted back off and saw portals opening above each of the ships. The openings were just slightly larger than the vehicles we were in. Our ships went through the and immediately were in space just outside of low Earth orbit. By the view, I'd say at least as far as the International Space Station, but I think we were farther. I took my attention from looking down at Earth and looked in front of me, and there were ships like the one I was in, and others as far as the eye could see, as well as large space station the size of a state of Rhode Island. We were the last of the humans of planet Earth. I don't know what year it is. I don't know what we call ourselves. But I do know that years before, we were still on Earth. Large black pyramids appeared in the sky across the world and began to lay waste to mankind. They would have easily succeeded if not for another race of people. The small Greys and their allies arrived and saved what had survived the first attack. The ones who saved us won't fight for us, but still help in any way they can. We continue to return to Earth to try and win back our planet, but lose time and time again. I still don't even know what the enemy looked like. That's when I wake up. The following dreams have a more obvious connection, and I think, as I retell these, I think I found a connection to my first dream, but I'll save that for later. The first dream in this series is very brief. The dream starts and I'm on a small island of ice, on a planet that's all water except for the poles. And the pole I was on was no bigger than a house is around, with a hole cut in the middle I was supposed to swim into. Before I could jump in through the hole, I noticed movement in the water below. Then a large sea creature that made a blue whale look like a sardine swam by beneath me. My knees were shaking, and I looked up and saw 3 all-black flying saucers fly into view above me. Then I woke up. The next dream begins and I'm standing on a road, with a rock wall to the left of me and in front. Behind me was a cliff where the road used to lead here, and to my right was an army hangar. The only way to go was through the hangar. Ice covered parts of the road, snow on the side, and a raging blizzard in full effect. I made my way inside the hangar, and inside there was metal stairs that went up a little and gave a good view of the inside of the hangar. Old military vehicles everywhere, some partially covered in snow from holes in the ceiling. I exited the hangar on the opposite side of the hangar, and there was a neighborhood covered in snow with no life in sight. I started on my left, going from house to house, scavenging for food and things to drink, and extra clothes to stay warm with as I made my way through. The whole neighborhood was surrounded by rock walls. I found 2 or 3 other people in the buildings as I made my way full circle to the hangar. The people I found seemed harmless and came with me. We went back into the hangar, went out the other side, were standing in the middle of the road I started on, and 3 all-black flying saucers came into view above us, and I woke up. See the theme here? And I swear none of my dreams are made up. The following dream starts and I'm in a maze made of all old cars and metal like a junkyard. And in this dream, I knew I was supposed to do one thing: run. I started running, and I'm quickly joined by a few other people who came from other branches in the maze. Then I saw the reason we were running: a large dog, the size of a dire wolf from Game of Thrones, made of metal. It had pieces of one of the runners in its mouth. We all ran a little faster after seeing that. Right off the bat, I knew I was not faster than the killer robo-dog, but luckily I was faster than the people I came across. One by one they were picked off. I glanced back and noticed occasionally a trap was being triggered after I ran past. Then the luckiest thing happened when I was the last one to get ripped to shreds. Just as this thing was closing in on me, I triggered a trap that made a dump truck sized flat metal arm come out of the wall and smash the metal dog to pieces. I look up and 3 all black saucers fly into view and I wake up. 2 more dreams to go, and these 2, I think, tie all the dreams together for me. The first was I was on a ship. It was one of the black flying saucers that were going to let me drive it. They gave me controls that reminded me of a PlayStation controller with about 8 extra toggles. They explained to me which toggles made the ship go up, down, left, right, forward, backward, and rotated left and right. I could see through the ship completely on all sides. We were already hovering above the ground. And I hit the toggle to go up, and the ship shot up instantly, and the speed was a little scary. I let go of the toggle after about a second, and I was already higher than I've ever been in a plane. I used the toggle to go forward with less pressure and started moving forward at a steady speed that I could still see. That's when the other 2 black saucers came from down below and moved past me fast, but very close. I thought we were going to crash. I let go of the toggle and the controls and said, I don't want to do this now. Then I wake up. The last dream I'm going to tell you proved to me, at least, that all of those dreams were in the wrong order, and all events occurred in reverse, starting with this last dream. The dream starts, I'm at home by myself in a house I don't currently live in, and have only seen it in this dream, but I live there alone. I'm in my living room watching the news because something unbelievable is happening. Giant black pyramids began appearing in the skies all over the world. While I was watching the screen that was showing one of the black pyramids, a bright ball of light appeared out of the bottom of it and shot toward the ground. As the camera panned down quickly to follow the ball of light, it had stopped about 50 feet above the ground. Before I could wonder why it stopped, it exploded like a nuke in midair. The screen went black and the world shook. I had flashes of being vaporized in the city in a bright light, being trapped in a building while others exploded, and the 3 black flying saucers arriving to save me after following a blue light to a cornfield. Then I woke up. These have been my true accounts of dreams that I still think may come to pass or happen to another version of myself. Either way, the most vivid dreams I've ever had. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Hope you enjoyed.